Welcome to Has God Heard From You Today? It's Sunday, and I hope you went to church today and had a great worship experience. You know, Has God Heard From You Today is spreading the focus of seeking God more, talking to God more, and listening. And we have a special guest here today, Mr. Ted Ferguson. Welcome, Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you.
You all, I am. This man, I'm telling you, I met Mr. Ferguson. You know, I've met people at the gym before, and I always tell you. And he was so encouraging when I met him. You were, you know.
What was I doing?
You were walking around. You had your muscle shirt on, and you had just
My
gotten off of
muscle
this.
shirt on,
Yes,
is that right?
it had this hip. You know, you had just gotten off of this machine. And I, you know, since I'm learning to do a lot of things, I just admire people who they just get on there and get off.
Probably had my mouth open and was.
No, you got off like that wasn't anything, and that's what I paid attention to. You know.
I've been working out since I was a kid. So
Wow.
I grew up here in town every day from the time I was a junior in high school because I was a small kid, you know, little guy. But that's okay. That's what you do it for. You do it to feel better. You do it to look better. And it also gives me something to do before my nap in the afternoon. So, anyway.
But let me tell you about Mr. Ferguson. When we made eye contact, and I couldn't hear him because it's so noisy in the gym, he walked over, and I found out, like I found out before with different people, he's an actor. Wow. And has a current film. I know we won't be, I haven't had a chance to watch his program, but tell me how long you said you had been acting.
I started acting in 1999. I was a general manager of 98 Rocks in Shreveport.
Okay.
And I retired. And in 2005, I decided to go south to Louisiana State, LSU.
Mm-hmm.
That's my alma mater. Went back, got into an acting class, an improv acting class. Started doing that, and then finished the year and came back to Shreveport. And it was just after Katrina. All of the stuff that we're shooting in New Orleans moved to Shreveport because they couldn't shoot in New Orleans.
Right, right.
So I thought to myself, I would be silly not to get a piece of this.
Yeah.
So I did, and I got an agent, which back in that time it was very easy to get an agent.
Okay.
And I got booked on a show called Blonde Ambition with Jessica Simpson and Luke Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And they had 4 priest roles, 2 of which had speaking parts and 2 of which did not. I was smart enough because it was a quote-unquote Norwegian priest.
Okay.
So I called the Norwegian embassy, and I got the scene translated into Norwegian. And I learned how to say the scene in Norwegian.
Wow.
So when I got on set that morning as an extra, there was one guy they brought in from L.A., a guy named Luke Wilson. Not Luke Wilson. What was his name? I can't remember right now. Anyway, they brought in a guy from Los Angeles. He had a speaking role. And they had another speaking role available, and there were 3 of us. One of us was going to get that. I told the casting director, I said, I can do the scene in Norwegian. She told the director, and the director said, you've got the other speaking role.
Wow.
That was 2005.
Yeah.
That was 110 movies ago.
Wow. So you've actually been in 110. Name some of them for them. So I mean, just maybe just a few, because I'm sure they know you.
The most recent feature that I was in was Logan with Hugh Jackman. Prior to that, I did a role in The Magnificent Seven with Denzell.
Wow.
I've done a lot.
So you worked with
movies.
Denzell Washington?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
I worked with Denzell. I worked with Brad Pitt. I worked with all these guys. You know, if you stay around long enough, you work with the good actors. I've been on Jimmy Kimmel. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we've been able to do.
And y'all, Mr. Ferguson is walking around in a local gym, and it was just something special about him. When I'm saying you never know who you'll meet. I'm going back. I know the ladies are saying that. You worked with Denzell Washington.
Yeah. Well,
and Brad Pitt and all of that. Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
Okay.
Denzel worked with me.
He's
But anyway, what's happening right now?
I love it.
What's happening right now?
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
Monday, September the 4th, at 8 o'clock on AMC, I have a role as a minister in a movie called Preacher. Now, this is it's a big AMC television program. Coming in September, we have a faith-based feature that's going to be out. We shot in Dallas 3-4 months ago, called Crossroads of Hunter Wild. The star of the show and the director is Mike Norris, who is the son of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is the karate guy. I say karate
know,
guy.
yeah.
And then in November, I've got a film coming out called Howlers with Sean Patrick Flannery. Both of these roles are what you would call full supporting roles, meaning 5 or 6 scenes and such as that. So there you go. That's my itinerary for the next few months. I'm booked on a film that we're probably going to shoot in January. What's the name of it? All Signs. And a lot of the films that I have done, I've done 12 preacher roles.
Okay, because I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
how does that relate to you personally? You're doing all these minister roles, even in the film, and I haven't seen Preachers yet, but I understand it's
Preacher's
different.
a tough show.
Yeah, I haven't
Tough
seen
show,
it.
and it's a story. It's a show.
Okay.
People get all interested and intense about, is this biblical?
Mm-hmm.
Is this Christ-like? It's Hollywood. It's a TV show. Take a break. Take a break.
Yeah.
But all of the priest roles and the minister roles and all of that, I do it because those are the roles that I can relate to.
Wow.
And I look like a priest.
Wow.
I can look like a minister.
Yeah.
If you want to put that into personal lifestyle,
Yeah.
I'm a born-again Christian. I just passed on an audition for a role where they were using some profanity and they're talking about sex and all this stuff. And I just told the director, I said, I wish you well. I hope success for whatever things that you're doing. But profanity on camera or profanity period is not something that I want to take part in. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I try not to judge people, but by the same token, it's a personal choice for me.
Yeah.
I'm a born-again Christian.
Hallelujah.
I was saved and baptized at Kelly Memorial Baptist Church on Greenwood Road in probably, 1957, 58, 59. I was 7.
Yes.
Now, did I know truthfully what my commitment was as a born-again Christian when I walked down the aisle at 7 years old and was baptized in that Old Wood Church? Answer, no.
Yeah.
No, because children have a different understanding. And how does a 7-year-old child understand the dimensions and the severity,
Yes.
of being a born-again Christian? Let's look at it from an honest point of view.
Okay.
If we stop for 5 seconds and imagine the importance of a decision to become a born-again Christian, if indeed you are a Christian, and you believe in eternity,
Yes.
and you believe in heaven and hell,
Yes.
wouldn't the decision to become a born-again Christian be the most important decision that you could ever possibly make?
Come on with that.
I'm serious.
Yes.
Think
Tell
about
them
this.
that. No, I want you to look at camera and tell them that because
Well,
they need to know
just
that.
think
Mr.
about
Ferguson.
this.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who say, well, I don't believe this. I don't believe
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Have you even opened the book to find out?
Oh.
Have you investigated or taken the time to look into this and find out, is this indeed the truth?
Yes.
And have you stopped for a second and thought about the length of time that eternity is? Let's take the ocean and put a drop in a dropper and drop one drop of water into the ocean, and that's what this life is compared to eternity. Now, wait a minute. You're going to sit here or do this or do that and risk the possibility of spending eternity? Eternity? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Eternity?
Yes.
Forever,
Yes.
never,
Yes.
never.
Yes. Wow.
Oh, wait.
Are you going to take that chance?
Forget about the lake of sulfur, fire. Just to be away from God. That's a serious matter.
What?
It's the most serious matter that anyone could ever consider And I say, if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian.
You all, that's powerful. We're going to have to stop and come back with Mr. Ferguson. Did you know you have an actor in your city who's worked with people like Brad Pitt, Denzell Washington, and still going? I met him at the gym. We'll be right back. God is awesome. Welcome back, and just to recap a little bit, this is Mr. Ted Ferguson. Um, I know more than ever now, Mr. Ferguson, why God, when you passed by, and then you were working out on the machine, and when you got off my focus, I told you when you walked over, I said you're just encouraging, not knowing. Well, but they see now,
That's okay.
not knowing, that I'm standing by
You're
a
constantly looking
famous
for people to be
actor.
on your show.
No, I'm not. I
That's
wasn't
okay.
playing. Yeah, because they
That's
call in, but look what happened.
That's good.
He connects because see, normally the people call in to come on the program, but every now and then God will put somebody in me.
You know, and I know.
Yes.
There's nothing coincidental.
That, see, and every
Nothing
now
is
and then,
coincidental.
every now and then.
I've had all kinds of strange things happen to me in my career that were not coincidental. I mean, it just happened to be there with the goods.
Yes, yes.
I was a stunt double for Al Pacino, and I looked at the role and I thought, boy, that would be fun, be a stunt double for Al Pacino. Here's a story for you.
Okay.
I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago. They were doing a film. It was Holly Hunter and Al Pacino was doing a film with David Gordon Green in Austin. And I saw the role, and they were looking for a photo double. They didn't say stunt double. They said photo double for Al Pacino. So I thought, okay. So I guess I submitted. I don't recall. But I just happened to be in Austin auditioning for a Toyota commercial. And I was in the agency, John Williams, who was casting the photo double for the Al Pacino movie. So I just made a joke, and I said, "Oh, you need me for the stunt double for Al Pacino." Well, I don't look like Al Pacino to start with, number one. Number two, I've got very silver hair, and I have, when my beard is long, I have a full beard, but it's very silver. So I made the joke, and I said, "You need the stunt double. I'm your man. I'm your stunt double." So she said, "Okay, And I said, "Well, I am his size, and I am his size." So she said, "Okay, stand up against the wall." Clicked, called over there. "We're sending you a picture of a guy." They came back and they said, "No, his hair's too short. Blah blah blah." Okay, fine. So about 10 minutes later, they called back and they said, "Well, send the guy over. We'll take a look." They sent me over to talk to the director and to see hair and wardrobe. So they brought me in there. They put me in wardrobe first, and I'm exact same size as Al Pacino. I mean, exact same size.
Okay.
We're both 5'6.5".
Okay.
So they sent me to hair, and the lady looked at me and she said, "I can spray it black." That's stuff.
Yeah.
And I can put hair extensions in the back. I can make that work. So they said, "Okay, you got it.
Got the
You
part.
are the stunt double." Now,
See.
I did that to get in front of David Gordon Green. David Gordon Green is an accomplished actor. He did Crisis. What is it? My Brand is Crisis. Yeah, that's a Sandra Bullock movie. And before that, they did Seth Rogen's movie Pineapple Express. He's a big-time director. You do extra roles not to be acting. You want to get it from the director.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, they came and did this thing. Okay. So the scene is Al Pacino comes out of the house, goes and gets his mail out of the mailbox. Okay. Gets it, goes back in the house. The kicker is this. It had a bee's nest, a beehive, a full live beehive with bees flying around underneath the mailbox. Right. So he has to be very careful. You know. Right. Okay, great. The scene progresses. He comes out again. Okay. They do a rehearsal. What happens is, good old Al has an apparition, which is his ex-wife who is dead. He sees her. It upsets him tremendously. Now, just prior to that scene, the director came to me and said, "We need you to do something." Okay? I said, "What do you need?" And he told me. I'm not going to spoil it. And he told me, and so I said to myself, "Okay, I'll do it." Here's the scene. Al Pacino's got his back to the mailbox. The mailbox has got bees everywhere. I mean, hundreds of bees. Right. He turns around, he goes to the mailbox, he opens the mailbox, he gets his mail out, he closes the mailbox, and then supposedly, quote unquote, he grabs this beehive full of bees and throws it back into the mailbox.
Okay. All right.
And do you think that they're going to let Al Pacino do
right,
that?
so you're going to be the stunt. So did you do it?
I did it. I did 3 takes.
With I can't even get it out. With real live bees?
I grabbed the bee's hive. I could feel the bees in my hand underneath. And, of course, the obvious question, did you get stung?
Exactly.
I got stung once. Now, what do you think I did prior to doing the scene for protection?
Sprayed yourself and put stuff on. What?
I prayed.
Oh, did y'all hear that?
I prayed. I said, "God, protect me." And I only got popped once. That's not bad.
Come on.
See,
you know, wow,
now, for some reason or another, number one, I was not afraid. I wasn't afraid, you know, at all. And number two,
wow,
it didn't occur to me. You know, I mean, people, they were saying, you know, if they get after you, run. Oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for that tip.
Yes, real life.
Yeah. But what I did do is I did the scene 3 takes.
Great. Wow.
And then we did 2 more takes with basically a dummy beehive.
But the other ones weren't live.
No, they were there. There were hundreds of bees on this thing. The first one I got stung. The reason I got stung was because I grabbed the beehive so firmly that it crushed in my hand, and I got stung. And that's what happened. But you know,
he prayed you all the time.
Yeah,
I'm so suspicious with it.
Here's the key. Here's the game. This is the deal. You have to honestly believe that God indeed will protect you.
Yes, you do.
Now that's the ticket.
And it's hard. And I'm sitting here thinking, seeing all those bees, that's a no-go.
It never occurred to me for a second that I wasn't going to do it. When they said, number one, look at it this way. Okay, I got to work with one of the heavies in the business for a whole day, and it was just me and him, Al Pacino. Yeah. Al Pacino is a great actor, a wonderful, nice guy. I got a picture.
Yeah.
You know, and the other part of the story is I got my face in front of David Gordon Green, who's a good director. And that was the game, and that was what I did it for. That was the purpose. There you go.
Wow, I'm speechless, really.
Oh, well, it's no big deal.
Well, it is.
The name of the movie, by the way, is Manglehorn, Manglehorn. And oddly enough, 2 years ago, I worked with Holly Hunter, who was in that movie, too. Now, she's an Oscar award winner. She's a sweet gal. I opened the movie called Strange Weather with her, which we shot in Canton, Mississippi. Yeah. And it was a nice scene, and I didn't have to take an extra role there. So it was good.
You know, we're getting ready to come up on a break, and those of you who've been watching for the last 3 years, I tell you, when the Lord puts people on my heart, even if I don't want to say anything, but He impresses upon me to say, look what I would have missed in the gym had I not looked over and made contact. We just made facial contact, and you know.
Nothing is coincidental.
That's right. And
No
see,
coincidences.
and I was saying, like, people call in and come on the program to want to come on, but every now and then the Lord will put something in my spirit, like, you ought to say something to him or say something to him.
Cool.
And that's the way it happened with you. Did y'all know we had this in our city?
Oh, well.
Wow. When we come back, he's going to tell us, I understand you're writing a movie or thinking about writing
Yeah,
a
I'm in
movie.
the process of writing a movie. Everybody is in the process of writing a movie. So I'll tell you about it when we come back.
And not only that, did you hear this man of integrity? There are roles he will not take. Profanity, but it really is, because now Hollywood is doing anything. I mean, and saying anything. And
Well, I don't want to judge people for doing what they're doing. You know, they do things for a particular reason. I mean, we all know Hollywood.
with the money, and money is the main thing. But I'm glad
Well,
you.
I can't say if they wanted to put $5 million on the table, I wouldn't
that
be
you would do
jumping
it
up in
then.
there.
But the roles you've been blessed to have with the ministers.
Let's put it this way.
Okay.
You know, would God bless that $5 million if I did it?
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
not.
Okay.
Maybe not.
You're a man of integrity.
Well, you try. You
Well,
do your best.
We're going to be right back, you all, with Mr. Ferguson. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson, for accepting to be here. This is beautiful. I'm Deborah with Has God Heard From You Today? I'm spreading the focus of seeking God more, talking to God more, and listening.
When I received the baptism of the Holy Ghost, God began to clean up my life.
So join us right here, Sundays, 3:30 p.m. We're encouraging others with our testimonies. If you have a testimony and you're not ashamed to tell it, call me. Has God heard from you today? The movie that you're thinking about, tell us a little bit about that.
My cousin said something the other day, it was true. Everybody's life has at least one major motion picture, right? I grew up in Moortown. My daddy had a mom and pop shop, a Mr. Charlie shop, on the corner of Broadway and Greenwood Road. I grew up as a white kid in a totally black neighborhood, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
It just depends upon how you carry yourself, and if you take things seriously, and if you try to treat other people right.
Wow.
Growing up in
Major.
Moortown, there's a million zillion funny stories. Let's start with all the kids in the neighborhood. Let's see, there was Pepperhead, there was Lawyer, there was Jack, there was Junebug, Jaybird, Zeke,
Okay.
all those kids.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, Olitha, Olitha daddy didn't know, and my daddy didn't know.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Growing up in Moortown, you are exposed to a culture, an African-American culture, that I would not have been exposed to if I had grown up in South Highlands. And that's a colorful culture with a language in itself. I ain't studying back now. Now, see, to me, that is a wonderful part of American heritage that we can't walk away from.
Right.
So what happened? I grow up, I become a disc jockey. And I work in Mobile, and I work in Knoxville, and I work in Baton Rouge, I work in Cleveland, and then I wind up where? In Detroit. 6 to 10 on a black radio station in Detroit, Michigan. You know?
Yeah.
Do you think I could communicate on a black radio station? I know what sweet potato pie is.
Yeah.
Sure I can.
Yeah.
There's a million funny things that happened. My air name was China Jones. And China Jones was on WDRQ in Detroit. Now, that's what the movie is about. China Jones' his history and his journey from being a 7-year-old kid growing up in Moortown, swimming in the buff at Cuffy's Pond, going fishing and swimming and catching crawfish and selling them for 15 cents for fish bait.
Yeah.
All of that crazy stuff.
that.
Growing up and then going to Detroit and being able to use that cultural information and that cultural education to communicate to the African American community in Detroit.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun. Now, let's talk about quote unquote religion. Where did I wind up?
And I'm sorry, we're down to about 2 minutes, so
That's fine.
Yeah, come on, let's talk about
What
religion.
did I do most recently? after retiring from radio, I became a missionary, and I went to the Democratic Republic of Congo and built a radio station there. And I built 2 in Nigeria. So, you know, and why did I do that? Because I felt obliged, because of my life, to go there and give something back. And it was easy. I mean, build a radio station. I only did radio for 40 years. You think I could go into Congo and teach some people how to make radio? Sure, no sweat, easy. Easy, easy, easy.
Yeah. Well, will you let us know when will you come back to let us know when? I know it's a work in progress, but will you come back and?
Oh, you're talking about China Jones.
Yes,
that's the name of the movie, China
right,
Jones.
It's going to be.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
It's a work in progress.
And you know, it may be a year, it may be 2 years, and it may be never. But that's okay. That doesn't matter. I'm always going to be working. Preacher on AMC. Monday, September the 4th. I don't know when
I don't think this won't air by then, but
that's okay.
But you had upcoming
it will also
movies.
be online. AMC Preacher. The other movie is Crossroads of Hunter Wild, which is a faith-based film.
And when will that be?
Probably out in September.
Okay.
It'll be out in September, and then in November the movie called Howlers. Now that's a werewolf movie, so I don't know if you want to see that. You know.
Mr. Ferguson plays ministers in these pictures, but you just heard what he said. And I still have to give glory to God.
Absolutely.
Praise to Jesus that we made contact.
Thank you.
I mean, nice. Wow, you just never know who you're in the midst of.
Yeah, I think that has to be the crux of our life, and that is that everything that we do is not necessarily for ourselves, but for the glory of God.
And that's a good one to end on, since I'm getting a signal we have to end. You all watch for Mr. Ferguson. You never know who you're around. Listen to the Spirit as he directs you. I would have never met this man had I not heard the Spirit say something to him.
Okay, that's fine.
I thank you.
Absolutely, my
pleasure. Thank
pleasure.
you, and we'll see you next Sunday. Remember, if you're not spending time with God, you're too busy. See you next week. Wow, Mr. We're not here to tell you that going through is easy. We're here to tell you that if you believe in God and you have accepted Jesus as your personal Savior, then you have His word, you have His promise that He will never leave you nor forsake you. Has God heard from you today?
If you would like to share your testimony or advertise your business or an upcoming event on this program, please call 318-222-2954. Also, visit our website at www.hasgodheardfromyoutoday.org.